mean, Kathryn Johnston, it was just a temptation that Theresa May couldn't resist because your party is in such a difficult position that you really can't fight a general election, can
Well,
you?
Mark, thanks for inviting me here, but for a start, the only poll that matters is the one that's on the 8th of June, and I'll wait to see that before I make any predictions. But I was interested to see John McDonnell was quoting Theresa May and the GDP figures this morning. They're a lot lower than expected, and he's pointing to that, to the fact that the standard of living is dropping, and that's what concerns me so much about the Tories. And Frank was telling me before this started, he's up for selection in the Westminster election, and I would note that he left the Unionists in 2012 with Mark Brotherton, and it's something that the Tories do well. They have a very fluctuating membership. One of their members, Mark Young, has just left and joined the SDLP in North Antrim. In fact, their membership goes up and down more often than Spelgadam.
Well, one thing that they... good line, but one thing that they do, which of course you don't, is that they actually contest elections here. Your leader is so disinterested in Northern Ireland that you keep on trying to press him to ask you to actually fight an election, which is what political parties are meant to be about, and you never get an answer.
Well, I'm very, very glad you mentioned that, Mark. We're not standing in this election as of this moment. We are, however, in the middle of an NEC review, and I'm sure you know, Mark, that there is a legal agreement between Labour Party Northern Ireland and the UK Labour Party that the NEC must have a review of our right to stand at least once in every Parliament. Now, we were told last September they were starting that review in November. We were told in February they were starting it the day after the Assembly election, the 3rd of March. And then when the other election was called, we were told it wouldn't start till the end of June.
So they're basically killing you through kindness here, aren't they?
Well, Mark, I think if you look at it, it's a little more difficult. It's a little bit more problematic than that. We're going to have a new Parliament on the 9th of June. We're also going to have a new Shadow Secretary of State for Northern Ireland. We're going to have a new NEC. The whole review's going to fall, and at the moment we're looking at all our options to see what action we can take on this.
Isn't it the case, boiling it down, that they are trying to tie you up in red tape, but when they need to do things quickly, such as expelling Donald Kofi, who stood for a different party in the last Assembly elections, or declaring candidates in this general election without holding local selection meetings, they can do things quite fast when they want to.
Well, I think that's a very fair point, but I must point out Donald Coffey didn't stand for another party. He stood for an alliance of groups. Mm-hmm.
You know, we've got all these reviews and you're trying to get them to urgently review the review, but there aren't going to be any official Labour candidates in this general election, is that correct?
Not as of this moment, but all options are open, and we'll be taking a decision on that early next week.